Hello folks, Duncan again with Free as an Eagle on the A-frame build. It's been a few days since I've videoed anything. I had to wait for some materials to arrive and a few other things to get done. At this point you can see a foundation that's been sprayed up to about the 3-foot level with waterproofing spray. That was the very last thing that happened. And now, believe it or not, I'm that next guy that has to actually start doing the work. I've been hiring out everything pretty much up till now, so you can hear my neighbor's saw in the background. They have actually that's their planer. They have a bandsaw mill, which is terrific, and they're actually going to barter with me to mill out some of my bigger logs. I have a lot of maple logs that came off the property. Yesterday I had a guy bring down most of them to my house for firewood, but he couldn't fit them all on the truck, so I have a big pile at the house waiting to be cut up. And then these ones I marked out because they were big and straight, and my neighbor's going to mill out some nice live edge slab type wood. As you can see, this fence they created, they gave me this inspiration to ask them to mill some of my wood. They were happy to do that in exchange for some more wood because they're running out of it. So I'm going to build a shed with that as siding and build some slab furniture and nice rustic interior furniture and benches for this A-frame eventually. So anyway, so we're at a point now where the foundation is here. The only thing left on that is to do the slab inside, which is going to require, they're getting in close, so they want to backfill before they can do that. So what you can see here, that's some cement board, and that upper area, that upper edge of the foundation is going to be shielded. The foam will be shielded with that cement board, which can be overlaid with stucco or parging or tile or stone or anything that can be adhered to it with thin set mortar. So over here you've got a couple of big stacks of 3-inch styrofoam. I decided to go with a 3-inch at the recommendation of my brother. It's got a higher R value, and the whole foundation will act as a thermal mass and hold heat. The ground heat coming up from underneath is around 50 to 55. So to encase this whole thing in insulation right up to the floor level, and then insulate the joist box, the floor deck, will actually make this very, very heat efficient, and the basement won't require much heat if I end up finishing that, which if I do, won't be immediately, but down the road I'll probably end up doing that someday. Meanwhile, if we look in here, you can see some stone and the footings. They're actually going to fill this whole foundation hole up to that ledge, which is the footings, and those footings in the middle that are for the column support for the girder that will hold up the floor frame. He's going to add probably 6 inches more of stone, and then they're going to pour a 4-inch slab on top of that up to the level of those pads, so that we're going to have a hell of a build here, a hell of a floor. I mean, these guys are the real deal. I told them I didn't want to cheap out. I'm more interested in a quality job than I am saving money. I don't want to build something that's going to be vulnerable. So you can see these window buck things. They made the, well, I actually made those boxes for the windows so they could cast them into the foundation, which they then did. And now that the forms have been stripped off, I'm adding 3 inches more, because when the foam is put up, the windows casings have to come out that 3 inches more to compensate for the foam, and then eventually they can be trimmed over. So so that's why those are on there, to build it out a little more. I just realized looking at this that I didn't account for the cement board, so I'm probably going to have to actually add another 1/2 inch to correct for that, but nonetheless, the thought was there. Now, so you can see that's one that I screwed on just now. I'll zoom it up a little bit. And I used some 4-inch screws because that added on wood is 3 inches thick. So to get a little bite into what's already there, I had to clean the cement off right around the windows and then screw that on. And then, as you can see over here, I brought in some wood. These furring strips are going to end up being used to help brace the foam. The foam will actually be held by an adhesive, so I'll be putting adhesive on that styrofoam, mashing it up against those walls, and having to hold it there while the adhesive sets. So I bought all these furring strips so that we'll have a way to jam that against the foundation before the backfilling is done. So I'm holding up the works here. All this foam's got to be up. Then the site work guy, he can come in here and put stone down. We have a foundation drain. You can actually see some green pipes right down there, and those will allow water to escape, and they come out on the other side. So this will eventually be smoothed up, look a little prettier, but for now you can see there's some drainage set up there. So what I did to make this job easier, I went up there and tried to screw one of these boxes on without preparing ahead for it, and realized right away that trying to force 4-inch screws through pressure treated off a ladder is quite tedious. So what I did is I took these frames and I marked out with a marker pilot holes, and I deliberately went about 4 or 5 inches back from the joint so I wouldn't be tempting anything to split or colliding with other fasteners. So you can see that drill there. I was just piloting most of the way through the wood so that the screws can be preset. Then when I go to put this on, I just hold it up against the hole there and send the screws in. So you can see there's a little extra concrete that got onto that framing, but that chips off, it's thin. So if I chip away that excess concrete, I can add this box to it. And then, as I said, I just discovered my omission with the concrete board. So being that that's at the level where that will matter, I'll have to add another 1/2 inch of some material, but I'm going to use these since I made them, and I will add a little more wood. That's just what I'm going to have to do. So anyway, that's where we are. I'm that next guy. Now my job is to get these frames in and then get that styrofoam attached. I hope to have some help later in the week and next week. And then once the backfill is done and the slab is done, then we'll actually be adding to it. And I'll zoom out here. I'll just show you the next steps. Once that's done, you can see the J-bolts along the top of the foundation. These are steel J-shaped bolts that are set in the concrete while it's thickening up, and those are how we attach what's called green plates. The green plates will be what we lay on that foundation and bolt down. Now that little pile over there has some green plates. That lower wood is pressure treated, and that will be set on top of the foundation and then bolted down. And then there's some Douglas fir, which is a very strong wood. It's a soft wood, but it's the harder of the soft woods. It's actually very rot resistant. It's got tannins in it, so it resists rot. So that girder will be built on those